Drafting the Magic features the thoughts and opinions expressed by Christian Ilton, Eric Pesolano, and today's guest, and do not in any way reflect the views or opinions of the Walt Disney Company or any of its subsidiaries.
All right, here we go. Down to the final last two episodes of season 1 of Drafting the Magic. I got this thing back to within 3, and then you stole one back, and now it's 4. So I need to get it back down to 3 and hopefully down to 2 by the time we reach the end of the season. But really, really interesting topic today, Christian. There's none of this, there's only 11 or 12 or 13 eligible items to select. We have a lot bigger of a base to draw from.
There is like a billion things that could go on this list. We are talking about the merchandise and the fashion and the trinkets that you can get at a Disney park in today's episode. We're doing things a little bit different. We'll talk a little bit about that in just a little bit. But Eric, just when, I don't know, even before we get to everything, when you think of merchandise at Disney, what's your go-to? What's your like, oh man, I've got to go into the store and get this?
You know, we've done, what is this, episode 19? You've never tried to pull my picks out of me before the draft until
Dang
just
it.
now.
All right,
you
fine.
I'm going to give you something at this point in time.
I figured I'd try. It is what it is. Can't blame a guy for trying. But no, I mean, and I was talking to somebody about this earlier this week, and they were like, oh, what's the topic going to be? And I was like, it's something we literally haven't done, right? We said that on the last show, but it's something that you are going to do every single time you go to a Disney park, or 99 times out of 100, you're going to walk into a store. You're going to go to a place where you can actually buy something to take home. That is the point of this show.
Yeah, and you're going to take it home, you're going to display it, or you're going to wear it, or you're going to bring it to the park again, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to try to figure out, our guest judge, and what she thinks the best 5 items are that every Disney park goer has to have. And this is a very tall task. There's several different lines of thought. We're not just talking about what items, we're talking about what types of items too, because you can pick an item and then whatever falls under that category may not be all that pleasing. So lots of options on the table. And I'm excited to get going. I got to tell you that right now, because I think I have a list here that makes me feel a lot more comfortable about drafting today, because I have seen all of these things in person.
All right. That's good enough, I guess, in my mind. Well, let's get to it. And I think, Eric, we've got a really exciting guest judge with us today. We have Adriana Redding from the greatest Instagram handle I've ever heard in my entire life, Bippity Bobbity Broke, here with Drafting the Magic. Adriana, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I am fairly new to being on podcasts, but I love podcasts now, so I'm excited.
We're excited too. We're glad to have you. I got to ask, before I even let Eric talk to you, I have to ask, where did you get the greatest Instagram and internet handle? Like, where did that even come up where you were like, I could take a Disney thing and make it the coolest name ever?
So just like most things, it wasn't like the naming was intentional, but I didn't think that other people would think it was so cool. I literally didn't know that Disney Instagram was a thing. I just thought I was this weird person who was obsessed with Disney. And then I found out about Instagram and that people had Disney focused accounts where that was all they did. And I was like, oh, I want to show my pictures. And then it just kind of evolved. Like, I think my name was something really generic, like Disney and Sprinkles, like the first 2 weeks of me having it. And I was talking to my friend and he's like, what are you going to show? And I'm like, basically how I'm broke and I go to Disney. And he was like, so you bippity boppity broke. And I was like, oh, that's my name.
Oh, I love when a light bulb moment shows up like that.
Yes.
It's always our friends too who have the greatest ideas, and then we go ahead and and turn them into something greater. So you talked a little bit about why you wanted to start your Instagram account, have a huge following. People love what you post and all your Disney experience. I have to ask, what is the one Disney memory you have that stands out amongst all the rest?
Ooh, I have so many. I don't want it to be a sad memory, but it is like my most recent Disney memory is you do all of these things on Instagram as if you have a some people want to do it for fun, some people want to do it for fun and to sort of get to a certain point. And so I finally got invited to a media event, and it was on the day that Disney announced that they were closing for COVID. So to literally have like wake up that morning and think that like this is going to be the best day ever. Then like as the day progressed, like it just keep getting worse and worse. And we were like, we got to do happily ever after fireworks show, like with the dessert party, and like watching the fireworks and like literal sobbing. I cry anyway watching fireworks, but I'm like like just makeup everywhere because I'm like like thought my life was over. It is the worst and best memory of my life because within quarantine, I would have never thought like that day I thought my life was over as far as my career was concerned, and then just exploding during quarantine and being like the magic is still there. Like it's still a dream. I can still do this. So sorry to give you guys like the sad memory, but it was also really good.
No, I think, and we talked about this with previous guests that we've had. Those of you who were posting your photos on social media during this time of quarantine, you were the ones who were keeping this all alive for us and making us look even more forward to it once we get back to the parks. I know Florida's open. Here in California, we're not quite there yet, but without all of you, we don't store a lot of photos sometimes on our our camera reels, and we gotta go back and look. So we do thank you for posting all your photos and reminding us of what a wonderful time we have coming eventually when we can get back to the parks.
It's gonna be the best party ever.
Well, and I've even thought about that, right? Like Disney World's open, right? There's things that aren't there yet, right? Like the crazy parades and fireworks and all of that kind of stuff. They've been shooting off some fireworks, but it's not at all the same, right?
Right. It isn't the same. And like the little things that we enjoy aren't always there. So like let's take example, if you can come to Florida and you're like, all right, I'm getting a hotel room. Well, there's always the option of like, do you want a Disney view or do you want a regular view? And at this point, I know it sounds first world, but you're like, I don't care. I can look at the parking lot because I'm not gonna see no fireworks from my hotel room. Like, so it's not all the way there.
Darn right. And you know what? That's bippity boppity broke. We ain't doing things when we can't see fireworks from the window. Why the heck would I pay for that window? But the like you said though, there is magic still going on. You are one of very few that will have that kind of memory. So even though it is the good and bad memory, that's something really cool, I think.
I do think it's a cool because like looking back, I'm like, wow, I was there that day. It sucked, but I was there.
I love looking at the positives. All right, Christian, we got some rules to get to about today's draft. Yes.
Yeah, we do, and I still don't think I remember them. So, but like we have mentioned, today's draft is a little bit different, and Eric, I think that is a good thing.
Oh yeah, it's a very good thing. Today we're going to be talking about souvenirs, memorabilia, Disney fashion. What 5 things do you need to have a successful day at either the Disneyland Resort or the Walt Disney World Resort? And that's why Adriana's here to decide. Let's go over these rules. The draft today is going to work a little bit different than it has in the past. Normally there's just one overarching category and we just go ahead and select. We put in a rule to kind of make it strategic. Today's different because, well, souvenirs, fashion, all those things, there are so many of them. How do you narrow it down? Well, I think we figured out a way how to do it. The first thing is, how can we put in a rule saying you had to have experienced it? What is experiencing memorabilia or fashion? Well, you can wear it, you can hold it in your hand, but does that really make a huge difference? No, not really. So that rule out the door today. Everybody knows what a shirt feels like when you put it on. All right, like we don't need to have that as a rule. So we're going to do a round by round draft today, meaning each round will have its own category. We've never done this. We're going to try something new. Adriana, I hope you're up for this because this might get a little complicated, but I will be honest, we're going to keep everybody who's listening in tune each round what we have to select. Our 5 categories today. In round 1, Christian and I must take something that you can wear. In round 2, we must take something that you're able to eat or drink out of. Round 3 must be a piece of memorabilia, something you would display in your home that you want everybody to see, but you don't have to eat or drink out of it or be able to wear it. Number 4, it must be something that is practical. You must be able to use it, to help you do a task, not just something you set on a shelf and stare at every day. And finally, rule number 5, it must be something that fits in your pocket. What little trinket will you take home with you from either resort, and whether you carry it around with you all the time or stick it in your car? What will fit in your pocket? So I know that's a lot to remember, but round by round we will make sure to remind everybody what the category is so they're in tune with everything. But before I take my first pick, I do want to check in with Adriana, make sure she's okay with the rules. Adriana, do you think those rules are okay for today?
That sounds really good. I'm interested to see what you guys pick for something that can fit in your pocket, because I feel that's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's the one that stood out to me the most also. And, to provide transparency like we always do, that was Christian's idea, and I liked it. So there, we came together and came up with it. All right, let's go ahead. Round 1 of our souvenir and fashion drafting the magic episode. Round 1, something you must be able to wear. And if I didn't take this at number 1, I may be shunned for the rest of my life. I'm going with the Mickey ears. You have to have a pair of Mickey ears. I don't care which ones you get. I'm more of a straightforward person. Give me the original. Go ahead and stitch my name in the back of it. Make sure you spell the name correctly. It's with a K, not a C. But I'll take the classic at number 1. Give me the Mickey ears for something you must be able to wear.
It's a really good pick, and I agree. And I think Adriana can agree. If you didn't take that as the thing that you would wear as the first, I don't know if we could do the rest of the show. I literally have 2 hanging up behind me as we record this. So, Adriana, what do you think of the Mickey ears selection as number 1?
Hands down, you have to have Mickey ears when you go to Disney World or Disneyland, to a Disney park. I even wear mine to Disney Springs, which a lot of people are like, I don't wear ears to Disney Springs. You have to. Like, it's the uniform.
Okay. See, so she is already in your ring on this one. But I agree. And you think back and you can see the different types of Mickey ears, right? It started off as just Mickey. But I will say this, and this isn't really part of the draft, but I'll ask you two what your favorite pair of Mickey ears is. Eric, you said you'll stick with the traditional. Would you say that's your favorite design you've seen?
Boy, I tell you what, the 60th anniversary of of Disneyland, those ones, the blue with the silver ears, I really like those ones. I think I have 3 pairs of those for some reason. They all are the same. But, I got a bunch of them. So I would say those ones are probably my favorite.
Adriana, what do you think? I mean, you are the fashionista of this podcast today. I'll tell you that right now. What would your favorite Mickey ears design be?
Oh, there's so many. But I'm going to have to go with the classic black Minnie Mouse ears, black sequin, red bow. There's so many styling options. And it's the classic. So if you could only have one, those would be the ones I would pick. Because red and black is my favorite.
That's pretty good. Yeah, those are. I would say my favorite one. I'll go a little bit less traditional. I love when they are able to take Mickey ears and design them after other characters. And the Mater Mickey ears have to be one of my favorite. It has a toe hitch on the back. His teeth are hanging down the front. I think that design was so good.
I really like that. But when it's wrong, it's wrong. Like that duck's butt on your head, like the Donald Duck with the feet. I'm like, why do y'all want that duck's butt on y'all head?
Oh my gosh, keeping it real, and the truth has never been truer.
And it can't all be winners, right? There's going to be a couple in there that are, how did this make it through QA? I don't know.
Oh my gosh. But no, I mean, the Mickey ears are amazing, and that is a good first pick, good sir, which means I have to somehow top it, and I don't think that's possible. But I think that if you are a family that is going to Disney World or Disneyland for the very first time, you have probably once in your life gotten a t-shirt. And when you go to a Disney park, you've got to get a t-shirt, because then you can go and show it to all your friends. If you're a kid, you can wear it to school. If your school doesn't have uniforms, that was the coolest thing in the world, was going to the Disney parks, getting a t-shirt and bringing it back. Eric, what do you think?
I usually buy at least one t-shirt every time I go to Florida. I don't buy them as often when I'm in California, right? Because you always get that sense of, I can get this whenever I'm here, and then I never do. But my favorite type of t-shirt, again, I'm a simple person. I love logos. Any t-shirt with just a logo on it, and that's it. Not too much. I think the last t-shirt I bought, I was out at the Food and Wine Festival at Epcot, and it had the logo and it had Figment, and Figment is my favorite character of all time. That's it. I don't need a slogan or anything going down the sleeve. Like that's not my style. Just give me a logo, even if it just says Epcot on the front. But I like it though. Got to get a t-shirt. Got to rep it while you're out there.
What do you think of t-shirts, Adriana? They're just a generic Disney t-shirt, right? Like, come on, you have to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If you're not going to get ears, you're gonna have to get a Disney t-shirt. Those are like top tier. And if you put them together, wow, whole outfit. You're doing it. You're doing the first Disney trip or the classic Disney trip, right? For t-shirts, I think Disney tries a lot of things. I'm gonna agree with Erica. I love a real simple design. Like, I love the white t-shirt with the Epcot in rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
Just all I need in my life. So I do enjoy a good classic Disney tee.
Well, and
I think, Christian, you have the black Epcot shirt with the logo on it, don't you?
Yes, I do. I told myself I was going to wear it today. Anyway, it's fine. We're fine. But even like, there's ones, like, if you go into the world of Disney, there's just the ones that have, Mickey, Goofy, Minnie, and Donald, and maybe Pluto's in there too. And it's got the castle, spaceship, Earth, the Tree of Life, and Tower of Terror now. But whichever icon Hollywood Studios is using that week as their logo, you never really know. Yeah, it was the mouse ears, it was the hat, it was anyway. But I love that kind of thing, and I think back to, as a kid, that's what I would wear to school if I had a free dress day or something like that, or if you were in a public school, you could wear it literally every day, and that's what I would have done, because I loved wearing the t-shirt. So that is my round one pick. It was tough to go up against Mickey ears, but that's all I can do.
Can I quickly do a public service announcement for anybody traveling to really any theme park? If you're going to Disneyland or you're going to Walt Disney World, please do not wear a Universal Studios shirt or like a Knott's Berry Farm or a Six Flags. Can we knock that off? And you know what? And the reverse is true. If you're at Universal, please don't wear a Disney shirt. Please rep the park you're in. That's all I'm going to say about that. And that's why we have a disclaimer at the beginning of the show. I had to get that off my chest.
Oh, it bothered me. It bothered me so much. We were in line for Mickey's Runaway Railroad, and the guy in front of me was like a Disney aficionado. Like, he knew what he was talking about. but he had on his Ravenclaw stuff. And I was like, sir, I'm about to kick you out because you're doing it wrong.
It makes me feel so bad because, you know, he probably had great opinions and like you said, knew what he was talking about. And then he turns around, you see the shirt, and now he loses all credibility.
I'm like, I don't care if that was your only sweater, sir. You can't wear that to this part. It is an immersive experience, and you are in the wrong world. Doesn't work there. I was like that. Or people who make like Harry Potter ears. I'd be like, ooh.
What you doing? Like, what are you doing with your life? Like,
what are you doing? Stop.
Thanks, Etsy. This is your fault.
It is very much Etsy's fault. But I'm glad that I'm amongst family because that it works me.
Every time I was at Knott's Berry Farm, they had some tasting events before they canceled the rest of them during the holiday season, and somebody had a Universal Studios shirt on, and I'm like, man, come on, go buy a Snoopy shirt, come on. That's why we're here.
As a fan of many, many fandoms, I need you to dress accordingly for where you are, because you will not see me Hufflepuff down to the socks at Hollywood Studios. You just can't do that.
No. All right, that's off us off of our soapboxes.
This is already one of my favorite episodes.
Move on to round 2 before this gets out of control. All right, what's round 2? You got to be able to eat or drink out of it. That's our second round, and for my pick, this is something that can be an exclusive item if you're an annual pass holder. The public can go out and get versions of these as well. And to be honest with you, when I spent time in my career in Fantasyland, this was an item that everybody sprinted to go get at 8 a.m. right when the gates opened, and everybody ran back by the Matterhorn into one of the stands right back there to get themselves that particular popcorn bucket. You have to get the themed ones. There have been TIE fighters. We've seen the little green men from Toy Story. We've seen, I think the Casey Jr. train was one of them at one point in time. They come up with so many different design ideas. And you know what's funny is the amount of people who tell the cast members, just, I don't want the popcorn. Just give me the bucket. But you can still eat out of it, and it still qualifies. Give me the popcorn bucket in round 2.
That is my go-to. I don't need that popcorn. Please give this to this child that's clearly excited about getting popcorn. I just need the bucket.
Oh my goodness. See, I've never been a popcorn bucket guy just because I don't know where I'd put them. I don't have storage, but I would love to collect them because, I mean, even for the holidays, they've got some, like you mentioned, all the Star Wars ones that have come out and you know, everything. They're such cool looking ones. I like the ones that there was one that looked like an old fashioned popcorn box. I thought that was super cool. Like, but then they can make them themed. Popcorn boxes is a very good pick.
You have a ton of shelves behind you, Christian. But build that you can put behind you. You got space. Build them and get you some popcorn buckets.
I am not a popcorn bucket like collector, but I do see the allure of popcorn buckets and Land versus World type of thing. The one time I did go to Land when they had this the Millennium Falcon, we kept saying popcorn bucket, and when I got to Land, they were like the French fry bucket, and I was like, "What are y'all talking about?" And they was like, "Cause you get French fries in it," and I was like, "Wait, what? You can get French fries in it?" Came back home, they was like, "We don't do that."
Oh my gosh, yes.
That one, yeah. Once we realized, oh my gosh, you can put other foods in this.
Yeah.
Blow up.
And the French fry thing, that's the SoCal Oh yeah, you haven't been to Southern California unless you had French fries. Literally, they sell French fries everywhere. I don't know why that's a thing, but we also put them in our burritos here, which is very odd. Anyway, that's just my soapbox for the moment. All right, my pick on this one is actually something that, and I did not change my mind on this just because I saw Adriana using one, but you have to go and get yourself a coffee mug from the Disneyland or Walt Disney World Resort. I'm drinking out of my Taste Around the World mug right now. Adriana's got her animal. Is that just the Animal Kingdom Starbucks one? Oh my gosh.
That's the Animal Kingdom Starbucks one.
That has become such a crazy thing that, I mean, it's literally just a glass that you're going to drink your morning cup of Joe in, but it has become a collector's thing. And I mean, it might have been starting with that Starbucks stuff and making those, limited release ones. But I walk into World of Disney and there's an entire wall of just coffee mugs. I'm going coffee mugs with my you must drink out of it pick.
My one gripe with mugs, especially personalized ones, and again, like I mentioned earlier, they never have my name spelled right on them. So while I thought about the mugs, I left it off just for that reason.
Yeah, because you've never seen Eric with a K.
Nope.
on a mug, and you're like, I don't matter.
And you know what bugs me even more? Do you know how many things I've seen that have Erica spelled with a K? Why can't we just, I'm not saying I've ever bought anything and scratched the A off of it. What I'm saying is why can't we just make a different version of it? I like how this episode is now turned into me airing my grievances.
That's all these episodes are. Let's be honest. That's all we do here at Drafting the Magic. But no, and I agree. And if you're into the personalization ones, or I remember there was an Animal Kingdom one way back when where it like would say a name on the inside of the mug, so when you were drinking it, you could see your name, because apparently that's a cool thing. I don't know why I need to look at my name while I'm drinking coffee, but
in case you get amped up and you forget your name. That's, caffeine running through your veins.
I like me some mugs. That's my go-to pick for number 2.
I think it's a good pick. I like that.
All right, let's move on to round 3. And I think this one might be the most difficult because there are so many things to choose from here. This one, in round 3, we have to take something that is considered memorabilia, something you can put on a shelf, in display, in your home for everyone to see. I had a couple things written down for this. This is a much different draft than we've ever done because normally I can write 1 or 2 things down and be like, all right, if Christian takes this, then I'll go with this. Well, you can't do that with memorabilia. There's a billion different things. So with that being said, I am going to take something that is probably a little out in left field, but has become a cultural phenomenon. Give me the Funko Pop collection all day long. I have not gotten the Walt and Castle Funko Pop yet. My girlfriend has, so I have seen it. It is amazing. The last one I got was Harold, our very famous abominable snowman friend from the Matterhorn, coupled with one of the Matterhorn bobsleds. And that right now is my most prized Funko Pop. If you can get one of these in the park, especially a park exclusive, and you can collect a few of these things, oh my goodness, I think they look great. They're very, very simple. Again, on brand for me. I'll take a Disney Funko Pop at number 3.
That's a good pick. Adriana, what do you think?
Definitely think that's a good pick.
Okay. Oh, I'm glad we're in line with that. A whole shelf of them. Mine haven't quite... let me ask you this question, because I can't see them. Are they in the box or are they out of the box?
I don't have anything inside of the box. When I buy things, I buy them for me. I want to play with them. I want to see it. I never plan on selling. I don't buy things for the purpose of selling them. So they're outside of the box, and I can't stand when I see people's Funkos in the box. So I'm like, you can't see all around it and the beauty of it. And what if I want to move them? And what if I want to make little scenes? And what if like Lando needs to be hanging out with Jana, but then I want to put him over here with these stormtroopers? Like, he got to move around.
Thank you. We're in line with what you're supposed to wear at a park. You know, you got to be on brand there. I ain't reselling my Funko Pops. Why they got to stay in the box? I was just checking.
Oh yeah, no. I used to try to keep the boxes, but I have a tiny 1-bedroom apartment because I was like, eventually, maybe when I want to move them, I might need the boxes. But I had to throw them all away because, like, I literally just don't have space for them. So I'm like, we gonna figure it out later.
And that's the other thing, taking up space.
I am in agreement with you on the taking them out of the box thing. I will say I only have one Funko Pop, only one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just never been my thing. I'm more of a bobblehead guy, which I guess it's kind of along the same lines. But my only Funko Pop I have is Kronk from Emperor's New Groove. So it is glorious. But I will say, and I am going to throw them under a bus for this, and this is the first time I'm publicly doing so. I was in my parents' garage, up getting their Christmas lights or something down. And there was a box, and I was like, what's in this box? And I open it up, and it is a bunch of boxed up, mint condition 1995 Toy Story toys. And I made a scene in the neighborhood saying, they are a toy. They're not collectible. I did the whole monologue from the movie. Like, I was like, what are you doing? These aren't supposed to be in a garage. I was brokenhearted. I will tell you that right now. So I am with you guys. You have to take things out of the box. They are child playthings.
Absolutely.
End rant.
I am also realizing that if we ever do an episode where we like flip it on its head where you're a judge, I'm in so much trouble, Christian. I'm never gonna know what you're gonna like and dislike, even though I've known you for quite a number of years. I still have no idea what's inside your head. So thank goodness I have to impress somebody else.
It's a dangerous place inside my head. Trust me. Anyway, all right. Well, I'm going to go into my third round. Your words were, and if I'm going back, it's merchandise that you have to be able to display or play with, right? Like, that's what you would do. You did not specify that it has to be displayed all year round. But one of my favorite things on a Christmas tree is an ornament, and you've got to get a Disney ornament. That's why they have the Christmas stores open year round over at Disney Springs. You go over to the German Pavilion in Epcot, and they've got the Christmas store, and it is amazing inside. I'm going with a Disney ornament as my must display something pick.
I like that. I do think that a Disney ornament is appropriate. It is open all year round for that reason, so that you can get you an ornament when you do come to Disney. And I know people who find interesting and fun ways to display those ornaments all year round.
Yeah.
So I like that pick.
Yeah, and you can get them personalized, you know, so there's a bunch of different options you can go with there. I have several on my tree myself, right? I don't really know a ton of people who don't, to be honest, to be honest with you. So very nice job there at number 3. All right.
Yeah. Well, no, I gotta say, you said.
Oh, go ahead.
I said you can get it personalized, like you said. They might actually spell Eric right.
Yep. Maybe. Let's move on to round 4, and this is one that must be practical, something you can use to help you do something, right? I know that's a very vague explanation, but I'm sure when I give you the pick, you're going to understand how it's practical. And this is a combo. It's kind of complementary goods, I guess would be the appropriate term for this. You want something you can display all year long, and you see these things more often than not anymore. And whether or not that's an unfortunate thing is, we'll leave that up to the individual to decide. But you have got to go get yourself a personalized cell phone case coupled with a pop socket, something practical. Adriana might know this better than anybody. When you're out there taking photos in the parks all day, do you want a disposable camera?
No.
Those are things of the past. Use your phone and have the pop socket, so that way you're not, first of all, it's ergonomically sound to have a pop socket. You're not doing all this, and I know this is a podcast, you can't see me twisting my hand around, but you're not doing all those end of range wrist motions that could get you injured. You got the pop socket that rests nicely in between your fingers while you're taking pictures. Give me the cell phone case / pop socket combo as something practical in round 4.
That's a good one. And the pop socket thing, man, that has just become such a craze. And Disney was smart to jump on it and make sure they were branding their own. Adriana, what do you think of pop sockets? And of course, just the cell phone case in general.
You definitely need a good cell phone case. You definitely need a pop socket for multiple reasons. One, if you're trying to take pictures in general, or if you want to be a Disney Instagrammer, influencer, YouTuber, whatever you are, the pop socket helps you, move around, do the things that you need to do for stability. It also is a lifesaver for people like me who are absolutely the clumsiest people in the world and has dropped their phone at Disney World several times on that hard, hot concrete, and the phone didn't break because you just got a good cell phone case with the pop socket. Because sometimes the pop socket save you because you're like, oh, I got it real quick.
Oh, remember the days when you would drop your cell phone and the worst thing that could happen is the battery would pop out? Like, now
The good old days.
now you drop it, it'll shatter, the screen will shatter, but that case can help that, and the pop socket, like you said, it can be your last grip saving grace of that, making sure it doesn't happen, is if you have that pop socket on the back. That is a good pick for you, Mr. Eric Pesolano. And I, in this round, am going to go with something that seems like you need one. At some point in your life, you're going to need one, and you can get them at Disney. Now, the ones at Disney, you might not be able to put that much in because some of them are smaller than others, but you've got to get yourself a backpack at Disneyland, whether it's one of the Loungefly backpacks or a bigger one that you could actually put something in for once, which would be great. I'm going backpacks because I think it is something practical, right? And if you're a kid, you're going to go to you're going to go to school and you're going to have the coolest backpack after vacation because you have Mickey Mouse or Baby Yoda or whoever it is. But at the same time, if you are an adult, like most of us, you can use it to go to the parks again and make it easier next time. We have a backpack that we take to the parks whenever we go to Disney World. We throw our hydro flasks in there so we don't have to carry them around all day. It's useful. It can still be used at the Disney parks. Backpacks, my number 4 pick.
A couple things with that pick. Number one, that's a good point about keeping the hydro flasks in a backpack because you never want to leave them somewhere and then walk away from it and then, end up losing it. This is the first pick that you have made that was on a potential selection list that I have. So none of your first 3 picks were on my list, but this one was. And I think you explained it better than I could have because I was struggling with if I have to pick this, how am I going to explain it? And I think you did a real good job with it.
Well, thank you, good sir. Adriana, what do you think?
I think the backpack is an excellent pick, and I'm going to take it even further because if we're going to go on the route of like what the Instagrammers love, what the Disney girls love, you cannot go to a Disney park without a Loungefly, or now everybody's talking about the Stony Clovers. Like, it's a whole segment of merch that has been branded that like is a staple now. You got to be able to put your hydro flask in it because you need your water or whatever you put in your hydro flask. You have to have that on a Disney trip, So I do practical, the backpack.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. That was amazing. Whatever you put in it, it might be orange juice. You never know, right? You never really know. Oh my goodness.
Gotta get that vitamin D.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's move on to our final round. This was Christian's idea, and I like it because this was something that I thought about picking earlier, but I held off on it, hoping you wouldn't take it, and you didn't. So round 5, the category is it's something that must fit in your pocket. And this is another thing where I'm going to go technicality on you here, Christian, that while it may fit in your pocket, that's not where you're going to store it most of the time. And it's something that helps expand the Disney community. And it gets people talking and people sharing the things they love about Disney. and I guess I can just go out here and say it. You got to get a pin, at least one. You have got to get yourself a Disney pin, and it will open up a new world that you never thought was possible, because it is now, much like the name tags the cast members wear in the city where they're from as a conversation piece. The Disney pins have become even more of a conversation piece between both cast members amongst themselves and the cast members with the guests. The guests aren't wearing name tags, right? But a lot of them are wearing a lanyard with pins on it. And, when I spent my time in Disneyland watching, I'm an analytical person, right? I'm always thinking critically about things. And to watch a child scan through the pins on the lanyard of a cast member to decide what they're going to select looks like you're trying to figure out how to fill out a tax form a lot of the time, because they are such deep in thought about which pin they want to trade with. And again, it kind of goes back to the Mickey ears too. So many different varieties and so many different things you can put on a pin. And I've got a collection myself, and I'm also very analytical about what I get. I'm just not willy-nilly out there grabbing whatever pin. No, it's got to represent me and everything I love about the Disney brand. Give me the pins at number 5.
I totally agree. The pins, it's such a conversation piece. It's such a conversation starter. There's so many memories wrapped around the pins. If with Disney nostalgia, and people who are just getting into the pins and then realize that there's a whole rhyme and reason to them. And I love that you made the analogy of like children, figuring out what pin they want. It's like them trying to figure out a tax form like that. It's so serious to them. It's one of their first real life lessons of like choices and decisions, and if I keep this one or trade that one, and they have a whole system to it. And I absolutely love pin trading. I do not have a pin collection. Like I said, I don't like to give things away. So all of the pins that I do have are very sentimental and have a lot of value for me in my memories. And like, that's the cool part, because like this pin probably cost me a couple bucks, but for me it means so much.
And I agree with that. I have never in my life traded a pin that I personally purchased, because there's a reason I bought it. Now, there could be times when you buy, a mystery pack or whatever, and then you end up with duplicates, and at that point, then that could
right.
happen. I have yet to get a duplicate. So a lot of the ones that I ever traded were, the ones that they give cast members out to trade and all that. But yeah, same with me. I've never done it personally, but there is a whole community out there that does. Disney started Disney pin traders because it became so popular. It wasn't the other way around. They didn't start pin traders to get people to start doing it. It started because other people started doing it themselves. So just another one of the awesome ways that the guests can influence the brand itself.
I hate you. I just want to let you know that. I have a extensive pin collection. I probably have over 500 pins. Like I've got, and that is not extensive compared to people I've talked to. I was talking to somebody and I was like, how many pins do you have on you? He's like, 1,000. I was like, on you? And he's like, yeah, I've got 9,000 at home. I'm like, okay, you've got every pin that's ever been created. That's amazing. But I still have my first pin that I ever got. It was a contemporary resort pin over at Walt Disney World. The little monorail hangs at the bottom of it, but there is an emotional connection to pins, right? And it might be the first pin you ever got traded, but you're right. The kids, man, they are tactical with it. And when I was working in the parks, that's how I learned about rejection, because the kids would come up to me and be like, no, nothing's good here, and walk away. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm gonna go cry in the corner now. Like I just got rejected by a 5-year-old.
Never felt more judged than when a small child assesses your pins and decides there is nothing I need here.
Like that is just. Well, and the funny part about that, Christian, to your point, was those pins back when you and I were trading them when we were in the parks, they weren't even ours. They were given to us trade. And even when they tell you, no, nothing here, you still feel like, oh, well,
Yep.
okay. I guess I'll go stand over here. And I think I remember, I don't know if it's the specific person you were talking about, Christian, but I was with you when somebody came up and traded pins with you when we were working in the parks together. And they had a whole book, right?
Oh, yeah.
It was like through pages of, if you were trading baseball cards or whatever, and just looking through the whole thing. So, yeah. And the other thing, too, about the hotels, every time I go to Disney World, whichever hotel I'm staying at, I grab a pin with that hotel's logo on it. So I have an entire collection of those as well. It's just the range that there is with these things. It very much makes it a personalized experience.
Yeah, I do the same, and I am sitting here trying to figure out what the heck I'm going to pick, because in my mind I was like, there's no way Eric's a pin guy. I don't know. But it's okay. I am going to pick the thought I had when I created this topic. There is something that most people put in their pocket, because that's where they also put their keys. It's a keychain, and the keychains of Disney are ever changing, right? You've got the food festival one, you've got the Festival of the Arts one at Epcot, and that's just in Epcot, right? Every single store, every single ride has some kind of keychain, and I think it's a nice little knick-knack to have. You're not going to walk around with Disney pins in public most of the time, I would say, or you're not going to take Disney pins to school or to a job, or I do, but that's another thing. But you are going to have a keychain on you, and it's a talking point, right? And so, oh my gosh, I love Disney World. Check out this cool keychain I got. Honestly, I was wanting to pick a pin. This is kind of my fallback. I don't know much to say about it, but I think keychains are cool, so I'm going keychains with my final pick, Eric.
All right, way to sell it there, pal. There you go. Adriana, what do you think about a keychain?
I do enjoy the keychains. I feel like maybe this is just my bias, but every time I see a keychain, I'm like, I wish that was a pin, so I could put it on something. But I can see where you would be like, all right, this is something. I will say, I thought as soon as you said something you could put in your pocket, I thought of something that neither one of you said.
Ooh.
The OG broke Disney souvenir, the pennies.
Oh, a pressed penny.
Pressed penny.
Oh, son of a gun.
51 cents. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're more now, but
they're like $5.
51. Yeah. But it's still cheap, and you're like,
oh my gosh,
you get to crank it like it's an experience. Maybe I'm old.
I literally have a pressed penny collection. I haven't touched it in a while, but I have one, and I didn't even think of that. This is why. Oh my gosh. Oh.
I also have a pressed penny collection, and I didn't think about it. I probably still would have taken pins over it, but actually, I think there was a post the other day that I don't know if the company put it out or if it was a fan blog site or whatever, that they've actually replaced a lot of the penny machines, the press penny machines, with new ones, with new molds. So this is not a generational thing. Apparently, it spans all of them because they're putting in new ones. So they still must be doing well.
So when I first started Bippity Boppy Broke, it was very much like, okay, I want people to be able to find things that are less expensive than pins and stuff. And so I did start a pressed penny collection. But I, just like with collections, I have a terrible job. I do a terrible job of keeping up with things. So the pennies ended up in my pocket and never anywhere else. So I don't know where any of them are, but I tried.
Oh,
yeah, I had to go buy the book with the sleeves in it just to make sure I kept there. I'm the same with you. There are a ton that I have lost over the years. I still have my base core collection. It's not very many. Should have been a lot more, but I definitely feel that.
Oh, that's such a good call. Oh my gosh, the pressed penny. That's such a good call. Well, that is going to be the end of our draft. And, Adriana already hinted at one, right? The pressed penny. But are there any other little souvenirs or maybe some merchandise, apparel that you would have liked to have seen on this list that we didn't pick.
Oh, I feel like the land of Disney merch is so vast.
Yes.
And I felt like you guys were gonna pick a lot of things that I did not identify with, but you picked all of the things that I enjoy. I do like a good mug. I love Funkos. I love the backpacks. I guess it might be a good opportunity to talk about things that I maybe don't understand. Wishables, don't get it. I don't get, like why are y'all trying to collect these little tiny stuffed animals that cost like $14 a pop? I'm exaggerating, but still, like I just don't get it.
I don't either. I mean, I guess there's something for everyone, but and we are not part of that everyone.
That is a gold hot take right there, though. I loved that. but that is a good point, though. Stuffed animals, right? Stuffed animals are definitely a topic of souvenirs at Disney, and Eric and I didn't choose that. So, but also I will agree with you. I don't understand some of the souvenir things, but here's what Disney understands: that big old dollar sign, and as long as they're making it, they don't care what it looks like.
Absolutely.
You know, an interesting point about press pennies. They had to get not Disney, but the press penny industry itself had to get special permission from the government to be able to do that, because that's defacing money.
Yeah, you're defacing U.S. currency.
So they have a special exception to be able to do that, which is why you only see them in those type of machines. Like, unless you have literally one of those machines, you can't go to like a store and just buy them from a retailer. Like, it has to be made, or if they do sell it, it have to have special permission from the U.S. government. So that's your historical fact of the day.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, well, oh boy, I'm already not excited for this. But Eric, run down the lists. Let's remind everyone what we chose, and then we will get to the big decision of which one of us won this episode.
All right, so we satisfied all the rules. We did not go outside of the realm, so I'm not going to recap what each round was about. So let's just go and look at our 5 picks. So with me at number 1, I took Mickey ears. Number 2, the popcorn bucket. Number 3, a Funko Pop doll. At number 4, the cell phone case / pop socket combo. Number 5, pins. For Christian, you went t-shirt at number 1, a mug at number 2, Christmas ornament at number 3, backpack at 4, keychain at 5. Let's turn it over to Adriana. Adriana, who wins today's episode of Drafting the Magic?
Oh wow. Okay, so listening to that list again, both like hit a lot of marks for me. But if I'm going to say, because I personally identify with the backpack so hard, the mugs so hard. But if I'm gonna say, like, choose it off of things that I could not do without, I would say my ears and my Funko Pops. So Eric, although Christian, you were real close. I think it's the Funko and the ears that's just sending it a touch over for me. Eric with the K, I am so sorry you have lived your whole life not being able to personalize things until now, because people got with it and was like, hey, people have different names. But I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with you, Eric. You are the winner of this draft.
Oh, thank you so much. All the extra money I've had to spend for somebody to engrave my name and things rather than getting the one that's pre-made certainly paid off here today. Thank you. Well, I'm sure my money is lost along with some of my press pennies. Thank you for the win. I'm able to close that gap just a little bit before our season finale next week, Christian.
Oh my gosh. I will say this. I think this one was kind of a toss-up, right? Because the merchandise is so vast, so different. I'm not mad. I'm not sad. I'm a little sad. But I understand. I get why she chose you, which is different than sometimes when I don't understand why our judges chose you. This one makes sense. And Adriana, honestly, thank you so much for joining us. You were so much fun on the show today.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This was truly, truly a fun experience. And I do hope that I can come back sometime because this was amazing.
Oh, my goodness.
We definitely have to have you on again. This was a lot of fun. Thank you so much, and have a great start to the new year, and hopefully we will talk to you soon.
Yeah, everybody, make sure you go and follow her on Instagram. It is Bibbidi Bobbidi, BIBBIDI _broke. That is the handle, as it were. And honestly, I mean, I'm scrolling through her stuff right now. She's got so much cool merchandise, and it is not just Disney stuff. She's got a bunch of different things. But the important thing is, Eric pointed out, she knows where to wear the correct things. Adriana, thank you so much for keeping stuff going on your Instagram. It's a lot of fun to watch all the time.
Oh, I needed that. I know I can't catch you for the rest of this season, but gosh, can I make the score look better than it was just a couple of weeks ago? And how much fun was Adriana on the show today? We got to have her back later.
Yeah, she was a lot of fun. She brought a lot of personality to it. And she was honest, right? You, like you were saying, don't wear stuff to the other parks, and you know, and she was like, what's up with the wishables? I thought it was hilarious. I do think that this is interesting. This is our very first time having a one-off. I won one, and then the streak was ended. We've officially ended this whole, there's at least a 2-game streak. It's over. We're playing real, and you have a chance to, I mean, look at the scoreboard. It's 11-9 right now. That's not math at all. Good Lord, right? We haven't done 20. That's the possibility is there for it to still be 11-9. It's 11-8 going into our season finale next week. And she was great. The topic was tough, right? You made you think about, okay, what could I put in my pocket? And gosh, I'm still kicking myself over the press penny thing, but it was a good topic. It was a lot of fun. And I think it was just a great show all around.
You talk about how good of a topic it was and how many things were eligible to be selected here. Think about back when Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs first premiered in theaters, and Walt Disney had the idea of making plush dolls and other merchandise tied to the movie. No one had ever done that before. He was the first one to come up with that idea. And here we are all these years later, all these decades later, and look at all the things you can buy. And it's not just Disney. It's all these other companies and all the other movie studios. We talk about, DreamWorks and everything they're doing with Comcast and Universal, and all the little things that are now tied to franchises. Right? Merchandising has always been a thing. For those of you who've seen the movie Spaceballs, one of my favorite of all time, as Yogurt would say, merchandising.
Merchandising.
It's gives something for everybody, right? We talked about with the pins. You can go find a million different pins. Something's going to match what you love. The Mickey ears were not always that way, but they also at one point in time weren't a thing. They used to just be Mickey ears. And now, like you mentioned, they're tied to all the different intellectual properties. There's something for everybody. That's what made this so difficult. But, without Walt figuring out that, hey, I can sell stuff related to these franchises, we wouldn't have a show today. Honestly, A, we would have never had jobs, and B, we would have never had this podcast as time goes on. So, and it all started with that idea. So fun idea for an episode today. Good work, partner. That was a tough one. And now we're down to just one more.
We are down to one more. Before we sign off, though, I want to know, do you have any honorable mentions on this list? Because I have one in particular, but I want to see if you maybe lined up with me on it.
I do have one honorable mention. It is tied specifically to Walt Disney World.
Okay.
I did not mention the Magic Band. The Magic Band to me is one of the most recognizable pieces of merchandise, or now memorabilia in Florida. It doesn't quite tie to both regions. I don't want to say yet because I'm not sure it'll ever come to California. But I love a Magic Band. You can get a bunch of different ones, again, tied to your favorite character, your favorite place in Disney lore. I had that on the list, and other ones that I think maybe in the future may become a massive seller. Lightsabers. I didn't mention lightsabers at all. I think it's too niche, and it's weird saying that because Star Wars debuted in 1977. But as far as memorabilia in Disney parks, it's really new. Like the actual lightsabers, not the plastic ones you can buy at Star Trader in Tomorrowland. But
I was going to say that was the kind of thought I had when we were talking about when something you could either display or play with. I mean, good Lord, you can either buy one for what is it, like $25 and build it your own and all that kind of stuff in Star Trader, the plastic ones that you see kids beating each other with, or you can go to Galaxy's Edge and you can make a purchase of a lifetime, spend $200, but get this quality looking piece. And you're always going to remember the moment of building it. Lightsabers were on the list. Other things that I was kind of thinking of was like beer glasses and stuff like that. I almost went beer glasses instead of coffee mugs, but coffee mugs I think is more of a generally accepted thing. You don't see you don't see a whole wall of beer glasses but I mean, you can go to Epcot and they've got different styles from around the world. So I mean, that's kind of cool. But yeah, the lightsaber one was really my I might go lightsaber, but I'd rather go with something that people are actually going to, like, everyone's going to try to get an ornament, right? Like, what, if you have a tree and stuff like that. Lightsabers, all the moms might not grab a lightsaber when they go to Disneyland.
Yeah, there's a lot that will, but you're right, probably not all of them. The one thing that just popped into my head that I didn't even think of, that is probably a good one, when you talk about the lightsaber experience, a ride photo.
Yeah, I thought about that.
And for preserving memories, and you can get a frame to go with it. That would be, that's even more personalized than anything else. So yeah, we could talk for hours on this. I know today's show there was a lot to talk about, and that's why we've run a little long here. But I hopefully everybody has their own input on this. And hey, what would you have chosen? You can send your thoughts to us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Drafting the Magic, and on Twitter at Drafting Magic. Let us know what type of things did we miss. Adriana said there were a lot of things that we didn't select, and the list was going to be very long for her to repeat to us. But what are some of the things that you like? We'll share it in our story on Instagram and Facebook, and we'll get that ball rolling.
And I'll take all the flack for not having taken pressed pennies. I understand. I am beating myself up for it, so y'all can throw me out into the wind on Facebook as well. And next week, Eric, it's our last show.
This is it. It's our season 1 finale. Somehow these podcast platforms let us have 20 episodes. Apparently people are listening. That's all we can ask for.
Apparently they're listening, and we are so thankful for it. You going to give the people any bit of a tease for next week, or are we just going to have one of those classic Eric Pesolano, no tease, no hints, gotta stay tuned?
It's a new year. It's a new me. No, it isn't. No, it's not. I'm keeping it tight to the chest. I'm not letting anybody know what it is just now.
I would expect nothing less, but I know this. Whoever wins that last episode is going to be able to hold on to that victory for quite some time. So trust me, I'm bringing my A game next week.
A lot of work to do for both of us. Let's see if it's going to be closer by the end of the season, or if you're going to pull your lead back out to 4.
We'll see.